Okay, this is a video about arithmetic and geometric sequences and series, and so I just picked a few problems for us to do just to kind of illustrate how the formulas work, or how you can find different terms and different sums. So this first problem right here is what we're going to do. Find a sub 7, which means the 7th term of the series or the sequence, and s sub 14, which means the first 14 terms added together for the arithmetic sequence where a sub 1 is 6 and d is 2. They use the word arithmetic, which means it's an arithmetic series, and so each term is formed by adding the same number to get to the next term, and that same number is called a common difference. Another way you could know you were dealing with an arithmetic sequence is they use this letter D, which stands for the common difference. A sub 1 is the first term, and the common difference is 2. So, there are some formulas that we can use since we know it's an arithmetic sequence, and so this formula sheet here is really tiny, but I'm going to point to the one I'm going to use. Because it's arithmetic sequence, I can use the formula for a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times n minus 1 times d. I'm going to use that one. So it goes like this. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So I'm interested in finding a sub 7. So that means n is 7. So this is equal to a sub 1, which they told me was 6. So I just write down 6. Plus n minus 1. So 7 is n. 7 minus 1 times d, which is the common difference too. So a sub 7 is 6. 7 minus 1 is 6 times 2. This is going to be 6 plus 12, or 18. So a sub 7 is 18. Now I need to find s sub 14. So s sub 14, I'm going to go and say, hey, is there a formula that I can use for an arithmetic sequence and series? And there is. S sub n, there's two different versions. One involves knowing a sub 1 and a sub n. The other involves knowing a sub 1 and d. I look at my given information and I determine that I know a sub 1 and d, and so the form of the formula that I'm going to use will be this one that has a sub 1 and d in it. So s sub n is equal to n over 2 times 2 times a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. And so what I need to find is s sub 14, so the sum of the first 14 terms. So it goes like this. S sub 14 is equal to 14 divided by 2, because this time n is 14, times 2 times a sub 1, which is 6, plus n minus 1, so 14 minus 1 times the common difference, which is 2. So then I use order of operations to evaluate this. On the outside of the bracket, I have 14 divided by 2. It's not going to hurt anything if I go ahead and divide that, so that's a 7. Then inside the parentheses, I have 2 times 6, plus over here, take care of this innermost parentheses. 14 minus 1 is a 13 times a 2. Now I'm working on the bracket. I have a multiplication and a multiplication. Let's do that. This is going to be 12 plus 26. And then this is going to be 7 times 12 plus 26 is 38. And when I multiply 7 times 38, I'm going to check with my calculator. I get 266. And that is what the sum of the first 14 terms for this sequence is. Okay, over here, now let's do these problems. These are for geometric sequences. So it says, find s sub 4. The first 4 terms of the geometric sequence added up. That's what s sub 4 means. Find s sub 4 for the geometric sequence where a sub 1 is 3, the first term is 3, and r is 5, or the common ratio is 5. So geometric sequences are, each new term is formed by multiplying by the common ratio to get the next term. So every time, so a sub 1 is 3, a sub 2 would be 3 times 5, which would be 15. And then a sub 3 would be a sub 2 times 5. or 15 times 5, and so on. So there are some formulas we can use since they came out and said, hey, here's a geometric sequence, and they gave us the common ratio r. We can go to our little formula sheet here, and so I have highlighted a formula here in orange. S sub n is equal to a sub 1 times 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. We can use that one. And of course, r is not allowed to equal to 1 because that would cause division by 0. So I'm going to write that right here. S sub n is equal to a sub 1, oh, this is kind of bubbly, a sub 1 times 1 minus r to the n all over 1 minus r. So I'm interested in S sub 4. S sub 4 is a sub 1, which is given to me, 3, times 1 minus r to the n, 5 to the 4th, where n is to the 4th, over 1 minus 5. Now I'm going to use order of operations. Within my parentheses in the numerator, I have to do exponent first. So 5 to the 4th is 625. All right. And did I write the formula down? 1 minus, yeah, over 1 minus 5 is negative 4. I can go ahead and do the denominator. So, 3 times 1 minus 625, 1 minus 625 is negative 624. And this is being divided by negative 4. 624 times 3 divided by 4. This is going to be 468. That's what I get for that answer right there. And so that's that one. So let's look at this one. What did they do when they give us this kind of funny looking E symbol? This funny E symbol is a Greek letter. It's a capital sigma, and it means to add up these numbers. So take the sum of. So we're going to sum the first 5 terms of this geometric series. So the common ratio here is 2. It would not take too long for you to plug in a few terms if you needed to just see it, and you would see that each new term is being formed by multiplying by the number 2, and you're like, oh, hey, this is a geometric sequence, and the common ratio is 2. You would be able to see that. In fact, I'm gonna find the sum of the first 5 terms, not by a formula this time, but also by just adding up the first 5 terms, to show you an alternate way you could go about this. So you could just say, hey, what is a sub 1? What is a sub 2? What is a sub 3? What is a sub 4? And what is a sub 5? And after we figure these out, we could just add these up. And that's another way we could find the sum of the first 5 terms. So a sub 1 is equal to when I is 1. So we put 1 in here for I, and we say 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is equal to 2 to the 0, which we know that's always a 1. A sub 2, we put 2 in for I. 2 minus 1 is 1. This is equal to 2 to the 1, which is a 2. A sub 3, we put 3 in for I. 3 minus 1 is 2. We see that this is 2 squared, which is a 4. A sub 4 is going to be 2 to the 3rd. A sub 5 is going to be 2 to the 4th. This is an 8. This is a 16. And to find S sub 5, which means the same thing as this, sum up the first 5 terms, I would just add these numbers up. So let's see, 16 plus 4 is a 20. 8 plus 2 is a 10. So that's 30 plus a 1. This is 31. This is equal to 31. Okay? Another way you could do it is with your calculator. So let's do this. Go to hit your math button, and then underneath your math button, there is the summation button. Now I have a TI-84 Plus. If you've got a different calculator, I have no idea where your summation button is. So this is the only one. I'm sorry, this is the only one I can help you with. There is your variable button. I'm not going to use I. I'm just going to use X, and I'm going to say go from 1 to 5. And then you put what you're adding up right there. So I'm going to say 2 raised to the I minus 1. 2 raised to the, in my case, X minus 1. And then I get out of that parentheses. And when I hit enter, it's going to add up the first 5 terms. And I got 31. And that's a really convenient way to check everything.